Dave Hodges here, host of the Common Sense Show. We are the show that is freeing America one enslaved mind and soul at a time. And we're defending God, family, country in that order of importance. And we have a special place in our heart for the oppressed. And man, oh man, if we look at what the techno people, the technocrats want to do, we are indeed the oppressed. And as we go through this change from the industrial age to what we might, well, what Zygmunt Brzezinski called the technotronic era, there's pain when you shift from one form of society and economic base to another. And we're identifying the pain, but this pain comes with a unique aspect. Never before in human history, when we shifted from one form of living to another, did we totally try to take God out of the picture. But that's what's happening here. And we've already done one segment on this with regard to Project Panama, and that's public. That's not even in hiding. Harari's quotes before the World Economic Forum meeting of world leaders professes that same belief. And now we're going to take a look at two people and their philosopher they have in common with Curtis Yarvin and Mark Andreas. And we're going to look at them because they are the influencers for Peter Thiel, Sam Altman, and the rest of the tech bros. And this should keep you up at night. Well, back up. If you're in the faith, fear not. Pray for divine protection. Follow the word of God. You should be fine. I can't promise because it's not for me to promise. But the book of Matthew says, fear not. And we're going to fear not as we go forward. But for those of you who aren't convinced, I think we're going to move you in that direction because we're exploring the philosophical underpinning changes in this new society we're going to be entering into. My name is Dave Hodges, as you know that, and you know I support Iron Hawk Financial. They're giving people the opportunity of a lifetime, not just to have good protection for end-of-life care, good life insurance, good health insurance, IULs, annuities, the whole bit, bundling it together in a strategy that has made the rich filthy rich, and they kept it secret because their lawyers wrote the IRS code number 7702 to keep it out of the hands of everybody else. And I understand why they did it. If you have a nickel and they have a nickel, no one's rich. If you have a quarter and they have a nickel, you're rich. Well, they wanted to hold the quarter and have you hold the nickel. And so this is where we're going with all this right now. So when we take a look at this, we're going to explore Curtis Yarvin and these guys. But what I want to tell you right now is you could set yourself up to be immune from this. You can be recession proof because the companies behind this, as I've shown you before, companies like Aetna and Cigna and so forth, they're the sacred cows. They're not going to go anywhere in any kind of ideological or economic shift. They're protected. You will be too because you're under this umbrella and you don't have to sacrifice your values, your faith. You simply just have to allocate where you're going to put your resources. Now, this is not for everybody. And the good people at Ironhawk Financial will suggest alternatives if you don't qualify. They're not selling you anything. They're not going to try to pitch you to do something that you don't want to do. You want to do this. This is an opportunity of a lifetime. To find out if it's right for you, go to dhawk.com, fill out the information sheet, and they'll be in touch. dhawk.com. Well, let's start with Curtis Yarvin. And I've mentioned him before, but he fits into the schematics of what we're going to talk about here. Curtis Yarvin wants to prioritize the state being privatized, and the tech bros are the dictators. And he's almost that blunt about it. Okay, he wants a business dictatorship. And by the way, we have seen this before, and this is where Donald Trump was a hero. In his first term, he undid the TPP, the Trans-Pacific Partnership. Most of you don't know what that is. It was disguised as a free trade agreement between 12 nations, and there was elements of free trade. But the real kicker for the American people would be there'd be a business panel created of 22 people, and they could override anything that the Supreme Court, the president, and Congress could come up with. Remember, Congress couldn't even look at this. You go, oh, I remember that now. Only Paul Ryan, the consummate rhino, could look at this. And he said, "Oh, yeah, this is good. Vote up. This is great for America." We came this close to being a business dictatorship, real close. Hadn't taken effect, Trump came in and killed it. Thank you, Donald Trump. This is when he was fully on your side. I'm not sure I can say that today, but Trump was the man of the hour when he saved America. I knew what he was doing. I'd covered this. Some people knew. Most Americans were oblivious to the TPP and what Trump did and saved our form of government. But Curtis Yarvin is behind this. He said, and I quote, "Freedom and democracy are not compatible." Okay, let's go over to Mark Andreessen and look at this parallel philosophy. He wrote something called the Techno Optimist Manifesto. If that doesn't sound communist, I don't know what does. And it is absolute communism, no question about it. And he borrowed a lot from Nick Land, a philosopher who believes that capitalism is AI, AI is God. Therefore, their business, corporate controlled form of capitalism is the new God. This gives them some kind of divine power or authority over you, and it's part of our new religion. That's where I think this is going. The Bible warns us about false prophets, and I think this is part of what we're seeing here. But together, these two views come together and they form something called techno-feudalism. And techno-feudalism is where you have very small number of people controlling the vast amount of wealth, and most of the people are extremely poor. And you have to get into the idea too of, are you going to comply and survive and have to make compromises, or are you going to stand up and risk elimination? And they openly talk about this. This is not Dave Hodges' interpretation. They talk about this strategy. They call data is the new oil. And they are into predictive behavior. They'll anticipate what you do before you do it. We see predictive policing already using AI in cities like New Orleans. We've covered that as well. Well, this is how to control the population when it's not in their best interest. Now, the elite technocrats are in a very in between cloudy position right now. They are close to fulfilling their goal, but there's an in between zone where they're not done and people are waking up. And hence, this is why I think we see the bunkers. Oh, yeah, all of them. This is real public. They don't even hide it. Zuckerberg has given a tour of his underground bunker. These people have bunkers because I think they're afraid of the pushback. Now, is there anything that we can do about it? And the answer is, well, yes, there is. Okay. Who are the companies that are behind this? Meta, or Facebook, Amazon, Palantir, and their corporate string, BlackRock. You have choice right now. Before we go digital currency and they control how you spend your money, right now you have a choice. Your power to vote this out may not work. I don't think we give up on that. But you can vote with your wallet. You don't have to basically fund your own demise. So you determine what these forces are. And we're going to give detailed explanation to this in a few days. And we'll be listing the who's who. You don't have to do business with them. Certainly, this is a nonviolent way of protesting this takeover, corporate takeover our democracy. And you could already argue the tech bros control everything. They just haven't completed the loop. When Trump fired everyone on the science and technology board, he replaced them with all Peter Thiel's associates, Palantir friendly. And we've been through the Palantir manifesto. This is not American democracy. This is not Christian behavior. This is raw power. And a lot of it, I believe, is satanically based. Now, my pastor says I believe we're in the end times, but I'm not so sure it's AI. I'm pretty sure AI is going to be part of it. We battle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities of darkness. Isn't it interesting? The flesh and blood, John talks about this in the book of Revelation. He removes that. Says, yeah, no, your battle's not against other human beings, flesh and blood. It's against principalities of darkness. Now, that could be strictly demonic, and I admit that. But I believe the demonic is meeting the AI. Technology is neutral, as we have pointed out before. It's who controls it and how they use it that makes it evil. You tell me, when you move two-thirds of data centers into drought-ridden areas and you gulp millions of gallons of water, is that beneficial to humanity or is it setting up a catastrophe? I think that's pretty clear. Don't support the beast. And we'll have more detail on that as we go. But right now, you look at why would you use Amazon? They don't have your best interest at heart. And not only that, they treat their workers horrible. Stories are coming out now. I quit because they watched every move I made. And then they would yell at me if I wasn't working every single second. If I scratched my head, I got a note in my file. These are things that are being told to us. I don't think they're all made up. I don't want to live in a society like this. Do you? Well, let's start resisting. Don't fund the beast. I'm Dave Hodges. God bless all of you. This is the Common Sense Show. We'll see you in the next segment.